The Philippines, a country of over 7,000 tropical islands scattered in the Pacific. Its reefs are awe-inspiring. Teeming with sharks, venomous snakes, and shoals of hungry predators. Here you can dive in with the largest fish in the world. This country is just as spectacular on land. From the extraordinary chocolate hills to fertile lowlands and remote mountains. Its creatures are diverse. Wide-eyed primates and breathtaking colonies of bats. Half of the Philippines' 52,000 species are found nowhere else on Earth. Here, the race is on to save rare crocodiles, precious parrots, and the national bird, the Philippine eagle. Like many archipelagos, volcanoes dominate the Philippines. There are 24 still active, including Mount Mayon, known as one of the world's most symmetrical volcanic cones. Its most violent eruption was in 1814, when the town of Cagsawa was buried under molten lava, mud, rock, and ash. Volcanic evidence is found throughout the Philippines, including in the most northern province of Batanes. Boulders from ancient volcanic eruptions are scattered along the beaches here. They're full of strontium, a substance so radioactive, detectors sound a warning here. This is Bataan, the second largest of the 10 islands in the province. Its rolling hills are different from any other landscape in the Philippines. And humid forests are home to unique creatures. Here, beneath the canopy, basking in the sunlight, a McGregor's pit viper. It has a venomous bite. Over 100 years ago, Richard McGregor was the first to collect one. He was also the first on record to be bitten by one, but he survived, and the viper was given his name. Unfortunately, these vipers are taken from the wild far too often for the pet trade, where their spectacular colors are highly prized. There's another creature that's hunted here, not as a pet, but for food. It's an expert in eating coconuts, and will even climb palm trees to cut the nuts down. The creature is a giant, found on many islands across the Pacific. Jaron, a Bataan Islander, is after an immensely powerful animal with formidable weapons, so he needs to be prepared. He collects vines strong enough to restrain his target. The giant he's looking for hides out in rock cavities during the day. It's the biggest invertebrate you can find on land, the coconut crab. These crabs can weigh up to 4.5 kilograms and grow nearly a meter across. Their claws are so powerful they can break open coconuts. Jaron will sell the crustacean to a local restaurant. Cooked coconut crab is a local traditional dish. But their numbers in the wild are rapidly shrinking. Regulations are now in place to better protect the species in hopes the population will recover. There's a delicate balance to keep when humans and animals share an island. In the Philippines, it's a coexistence that goes back thousands of years. Over 900 kilometers to the south of Bataan, lies the island of Mindoro. Mount Iglit-Baco National Park is home to the tamarau, one of the rarest mammals on Earth. It's also home to an indigenous people called the Mangyan. Their lifestyle has changed little in hundreds of years, but some traditions have changed. The Mangyan used to hunt tamarau, a dwarf buffalo, for meat, but due to habitat loss and diseases passed through domestic cattle, they are now critically endangered. Now the Mangyan help protect the remaining tamarau from poachers. The rangers keep tabs on the tamarau population, making accurate counts of individuals. Jenna and Geronimo position themselves in prime habitat. The rangers soon spot a family. The calves have reddish-brown fur. It will take them 5 years to get the gray-colored coat adults have. Tamarau are dwarfs in the buffalo family, standing only a meter tall, but they're still the largest native land mammals in the Philippines. Now fully protected, around 400 tamarau survive in the wild. It's hoped the population will rise to 600 by 2020. Tamarau only live on Mindoro. But the unofficial national animal is not native to these islands. Water buffalo are found everywhere. Weighing up to 1,200 kilos in the wild, the water buffalo is a living, breathing tractor across most of Asia. There are around 3.5 million in the Philippines. Every year in May, hundreds of them are brought to the town of Pulilan. Here, the buffalo must look their best. Even their horns are polished. The water buffalo, or carabao as they're called, are here for a festival to honor Saint Isidore, the patron saint of farmers. Some of them have been training for this festival since they were small calves. Today, the buffalo will kneel before a statue of Saint Isidore. Crowds come from nearby Manila, the capital of the Philippines, to watch the procession. Legend has it, Saint Isidore was so blessed that angels were seen helping him with his work in the field. After 2 kilometers, the procession reaches the church of San Isidro. The farmers are here to express their gratitude to the saint for harvests past and to pray for success in the future. At the procession's finale, the trained animals are asked to kneel in front of the church as a tribute to Saint Isidore. This carabao is a veteran. He has knelt at the festival since he was a calf. And with an estimated lifespan of 40 years, he's got many years of kneeling to go. Even though more than 50 million people live on Luzon, nature is never far away. The mountains of the Sierra Madre are just 100 kilometers from Pulilan. Their forested slopes are home to some truly rare creatures. Members of the Philippine Tarantula Society come here to search for the stunning Quezon Blue, a prized spider. But they're also on the lookout for some smaller members of the tarantula family.
Chipen, I got something here.
What is it?
It's a dwarf orange-leg tarantula.
A dwarf orange-legged tarantula is a miniature species that grows 7 centimeters.
It's a rare one.
This dwarf is only found in a very small area.
Let's keep this for our research.
Very little is known about this tiny species, so each spider they find is an important specimen. Night falls in the Sierra Madre, and it brings ideal conditions, darkness and humidity, for the team to continue their search for the elusive Quezon blue. The team hopes the tarantulas will be visible at the entrance to their burrows.
Jai, there's one over there. It's the Quezon blue. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, nice blue coloration. It's only found here in Quezon.
Its hairs reflect blue light, creating its gorgeous color.
It may strike.
Unlike tarantulas from the Americas, Asian species can't defend themselves by flicking hairs from their abdomen, but they've got a set of huge fangs to make up for it.
I think we better let her go. Yeah. Let's put her back to her burrow.
The brilliant Quezon blue is a lucky find in these mountains. But the Sierra Madres have another multicolored species, unique to these forests. They live above 350 meters. Ray Santa Ana and Chris Gimbali are looking for dazzling creatures that are notoriously difficult to find, let alone photograph. But that was before Chris managed to make friends with them. With any luck, they'll appear from the forest when Chris calls out their name, Whiskers. He lays out some treats and waits for any takers. Before long, Chris and Ray's patience is rewarded.
Oh, here it is.
A whiskered pitta.
Beautiful.
Not much is known about this species. They're secretive and shy, but this male will make an appearance in exchange for his favorite food. Pittas stick to the forest floor, hardly flying more than a meter or two from the ground to feed or call for a mate. On cue, the female arrives to share the feast.
Wow.
Whiskered pittas are only found on Luzon. They're specialized for this very specific habitat and never leave their island home. The same is true for many species across the Philippines, and each island has their own cast of characters on land and underwater. South of Manila is the diving haven of Anilao and the Verde Island Passage, a strait that separates the islands of Luzon and Mindoro. There is a greater variety of life here than perhaps anywhere else in the sea. Nearly half of the world's coral species can be found in these waters. A group of Filipino photographers are part of the effort to document the diverse creatures of Anilao. With so much sea life, diving here always means there's a chance of finding a new species of coral, invertebrate, or fish. This stretch of ocean lies within the Coral Triangle, an area with more than 1,300 species of reef-associated fish. The team encounters one of the most bizarre specimens, a giant frogfish. It grows to nearly 45 centimeters long. It's unusual to see one on the move. Usually they lie in wait. ready to gulp down any unsuspecting prey that passes by. All over the reef, colorful fish steal the spotlight. But to the expert eye, other creatures can be just as exquisite. Nudibranchs, day-glow members of the sea slug family. Of the world's 2,000 species, hundreds have been found here in Anilao. When it comes to ocean residents, there's one family of fish that's especially charming. They're found on tropical reefs in the Western Pacific, Indian Ocean, and the Red Sea. The clownfish. Several species are found here. These are the saddleback clownfish. And they survive in a poisonous home of tentacles. Sea anemone have a deadly sting. So the fish that live among their tentacles must carry a defensive shield, a protective layer of mucus. Even the fish family's eggs are protected by the anemone. When the larvae hatch, they will be independent and strike off to search for an anemone of their own. In the rich waters off the Philippines, there are plenty of reef sites to choose from. Combined, the coral reefs here cover an estimated area nearly the size of Belgium. On this dive, the team will be in search of the sea's mini creatures. Beneath the boat, they find a fire urchin. A fire urchin is more than a collection of poisonous spines. Its spines keep most creatures away, but they provide a habitat for tiny hitchhikers like the zebra crab and the Coleman shrimp. The shrimp keep the urchin clean. The crab feeds on the urchin's spines. For these species, life is better together. The same goes for a sea fan that's a stable for a miniature steed. A pygmy seahorse, just 2 centimeters long. They have such perfect camouflage, pygmy seahorses weren't even discovered until 1969. These tiny predators suck up microscopic creatures hidden in the coral. Some larger hunters are only active at night. And the dive team will head to a special place to photograph them. To reach their night dive location, the team follows the coastline. Using the last few minutes of daylight, the divers give their gear a once-over before they head beneath the waves. They set anchor at a world-famous dive site, known for its large number of cephalopods. Their dive lights attract tiny shrimp, which quickly draw the attention of some of the ocean's smaller predators. A juvenile lionfish, squid, and the flamboyant cuttlefish. The tube anemone is a more passive feeder, anchored in place and gathering plankton with its tentacles. This starry night octopus is on the hunt for crabs and mollusks. It only hunts after sundown, under cover of darkness. Vulnerable on the ocean floor, it looks for shelter behind an old coral skeleton. But some octopus construct a shelter of their own. The coconut octopus are named for their habit of collecting empty coconuts, or in this case, scallop shells, to make a defensive fortress. The art of concealment is an important strategy on the sea floor. A fish that seems sprung from a nightmare lurks in the sand. A stargazer. The stargazer extends a lure from its mouth. Wriggling it will attract nearby prey out on their own hunt for a meal. The dive team has photographed more than 40 species today, but abundant waters surround land that's home to some of the world's rarest creatures. 400 kilometers to the north in Isabela province is the town of San Mariano. In the countryside close by, an international team is devoted to helping the world's rarest crocodile. The Mabuaya Foundation has an innovative plan to save the Philippine crocodile from extinction. Merline Van Weerd runs the project.
How many crocodiles do we have ready for release, Bernard?
The moment for 6.
The Philippine crocodiles were hatched in the wild and brought here to raise their chances of survival. They're given a head start in captivity. And when they're big enough, they'll be recaptured and returned to their natural habitat. In the wild, hatchling crocs are vulnerable, and their survival rate is very low. Protected in this pond for 2 years, these crocs are now big enough to deal with most predators. There are 20 crocodiles in the pool. 6 of them are ready to go home. Before they return to the wild, the crocs will get a checkup from Merline and Operations Manager Tess Gatan Balbas.
Ah, yes, you got one. Great, excellent. Looks like a very healthy crocodile. What do you say, Tess?
Yeah, she looks very healthy and very pretty.
Let's see how long she is.
The crocs must be over 65 centimeters before release.
69 centimeters.
Yeah.
Well, that's long enough. Let's pack her in, Tess.
Okay, here's the tube.
She'll be safe and dark inside for the trip to Pinoy.
The juvenile crocs have a long, bumpy ride ahead of them. The first hurdle is crossing the Catalangan River. And then a muddy passage to the release site, close to the village of Sitio Dinoy. But before the crocs are set free, the team has another vital job to do here. The Mabuaya Foundation works with local people to conserve the crocodiles. Amante joins Victorino Montanez, a community warden employed for his skill at locating crocodile nests and guarding them. They check the nest for babies, but there are no new crocodiles yet. There are 20 eggs in the nest, the average clutch size for a Philippine croc. With the eggs so near hatching, the team will check the nest every few days. When the crocs are born, they'll be collected to get a head start in captivity. Their mother is nearby. Philippine crocs are timid animals and rarely charge humans, although they will defend their nest if a monitor lizard or predatory bird gets too close. Victorino and Amante leave quickly to avoid disturbing her. With the nest site secure, the team brings out one of the 2-year-old crocs. It is heading to one of the last remaining strongholds of the Philippine crocodile, Dinoy Lake. There are less than 200 of the crocs left in the wild, so there are a lot of hopes riding on this juvenile. The community wardens will make sure she's well protected here. Feeding on small fish, mollusks, and insects, she'll grow quickly, up to 3 meters long. Thanks to care and captivity, her chance of survival may be more than double. If she makes it to 10 years old, she'll be sexually mature and perhaps have babies of her own. Filipinos look after another iconic species in the most western province of the Philippines. Palawan is home to El Nido, a scatter of 45 idyllic islands. El Nido has some of the most exclusive resorts in the country. This is Minilok, an eco-resort that doesn't just cater to human tastes. Environmental Officer Elaine Tagagando is checking on some wild guests. Giant trevally. These predators grow up to 1.7 meters long. For 20 years they've been coming here for breakfast. They surge in to feed at 60 kilometers an hour. In the open ocean, trevally eat crustaceans, cephalopods, and sometimes even birds. But today, they'll close in on a massive shoal of yellow-striped scad. The trevally work as a team, pushing the fish closer together into a giant bait ball. These mock charges may be to weed out the sick or injured, which the predators will kill with a violent body slam. The bait ball separates and shrinks. They may get handouts at the resort, but the trevally are still natural-born killers. And a key part of the ecosystem that draws admirers from near and far. Southwest of El Nido, in the center of Palawan, is the capital of the province, Puerto Princesa. Visitors come here for a boat ride to a unique landscape in the heart of Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park. Stunning limestone formations hide a subterranean river that's been named one of the new 7 wonders of the world. The park's wildlife is just as spectacular. The Palawan peacock pheasant. Less than 50,000 of these beautiful birds remain. Some of them spend time near the entrance of one of the longest known navigable underground rivers in the world. The Puerto Princesa Underground River runs through the mountains for more than 8 kilometers. This geological wonder has more ornithological wonders inside. Clouds of swiftlets fill the cave with trills and clicks. The swiftlets can find their way to their nests in pitch darkness. They navigate by echolocation, mapping the cave walls as their clicks bounce off whatever they hit. Some of the limestone formations have been given names. like the giant candle and the Virgin Mary. The swiftlets share the subterranean river with bats. At least 6 species roost and give birth here. There are over 70,000 of them. But the number of bats is dwarfed by the number of tourists. More than 500,000 visitors journey through this cave every year. Close to the underground river, there's an overground one that's the study site for researchers from the Katala Foundation. Dexter Alvarado and Ernie Socrates set traps for the rare animals that live here. Each trap is baited with shellfish or fruit. But nothing has been tempted into this one. They're studying endangered turtles, but they won't find them on the banks or logs. Unlike most other turtles, this is a species that never basks in the sun. The team checks traps set every 100 meters along the river. At last, they've captured a Palawan forest turtle. The locals call it the bakoko. Dexter and Ernie take measurements and vital statistics.
Minimum carapace, 264.
They survey this river once a year
Body weight,
and have met this turtle before.
202.
They've ID'd it with notches filed into the shell. Like many turtles, this one had a lucky escape in June 2015. On that day, authorities raided a warehouse and seized over 3,800 Palawan forest turtles. This shocking number was more than researchers had even believed were left in the wild. The turtles were on their way to China to be sold into the exotic pet trade. Conservationists stepped in. A network of donors, vets, volunteers, and students were assembled for the crisis. Paul Gibbons from the Turtle Conservancy flew in with a team from the U.S. Vets were on standby to help any sick or injured turtles. The rescue effort was coordinated by Sabine Schopp of the Katala Foundation. While shell infections were treated, other helpers prepared a temporary enclosure. Eventually, the team was able to relocate nearly 90% of the confiscated turtles to the wild. Now, Sabine and her team keep the turtles unable to be released in a special facility at the Katala Foundation in Nara. It's hoped the turtles will mate and lay eggs here. They've never been bred in captivity before, but Sabine is up for the challenge to protect this rare species.
Even after so many years, I'm still fascinated by the coloration. It's very cute. Look at this.
They collect data on the growing juveniles, so they'll know what to expect if new eggs are laid.
Let's see if it has been growing. Last measurement was April. Okay.
84.7.
That is almost 4 millimeter in growth.
Captive breeding provides a safety net in case of population crashes in the wild. The future of the Palawan forest turtle is more optimistic than before, but their fate lies in whether biologists can figure out how to breed them in captivity. It's been a lifesaver for species around the globe, and the turtles may one day depend on it too. The Turtle Breeding Center is in the shadow of Mount Victoria, the second highest mountain on Palawan. Naturalists come here in search of exotic animals and plants. Jason Sivancia and William Cabria explore the mountain often and are experts on its flora and fauna.
Oh, Jason here. Palawan horn frog. Wow.
The Palawan horned frog is unique to Palawan and the nearby island of Balabac.
It's the first one I've seen this year.
The charming frog is only found in pristine forests. And above the forest tree line, some unusual plant life has evolved surprising ways to survive. Spectacular meat-eating plants grow just beneath the summit of Mount Victoria. At 1,700 meters, the twin peaks are often shrouded in mist. Jason and William find the carnivorous plants they've hiked here for. Rat-eating pitcher plants.
Wow. They're big.
They were given this name when a decomposing mammal was found inside one of the pitchers, though it wasn't a rat, but a tree shrew. Either way, it's a bit of a misnomer. Mammals are not their usual prey.
Oh, look at this one. There's an insect inside.
Yeah.
Once they get inside there, cannot get out.
Pitcher plants grow on poor soils, so they need to get their food elsewhere. Leaves from their tube-like pitchers trap insects and other creatures that fall in. They drown in what can be up to 2 liters of liquid, and the plant absorbs the nutrients from their bodies.
And got one of this insect inside.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Up in the hard-to-reach mountains, these giant pitcher plants were only discovered in 2007. Once found, they were named Nepenthes attenboroughii, after naturalist and television host Sir David Attenborough.
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you for finding it.
Yeah, sure. My pleasure. Let's go find another one.
Yes.
Mount Victoria is the only place on Earth where you can find these magnificent plants. The stronghold of other Palawan rarities is an island just off the coast. Researchers Anna Agulu and Joshua Nunos are on their way to Rasa Island to check on one of the most endangered parrots in the world. They must navigate dense mangrove swamps to find the bird's hidden nest. Rasa Island has been declared a wildlife sanctuary to protect the rare Philippine cockatoos that nest here. Former poachers from the nearby Tagbanua community are employed as wardens. They've been monitoring a nest. Today's the day when the chicks will be collected. In the past, these men would have taken the baby parrots to sell for the pet trade. Now they make the risky climb 30 meters up to help save a species. They haul up a basket when the first cockatoo is pulled from the nest hole. There are 3 chicks in the nest, and each will get a checkup. The parents shriek in alarm. They don't know these are protectors, not poachers. These cockatoos, or katala as they're known locally, are around a month old.
This one looks really healthy.
Oh, yeah.
They'll find out if the chicks are the right weight for their age.
It's 3:45.
A bouncing baby. Its parents have fed it well. The smallest is less advanced, but it's still in good shape.
41.
The chicks are doing well on a diet of mushed up seeds and fruit, regurgitated from their parents. They're nearly grown and will soon be ready to fly. After their vital statistics are taken, each chick gets a band attached to its leg so they can be identified in the years ahead. Till then, the chicks are packed up and returned to their anxiously awaiting parents. Every afternoon, the adult cockatoos fly the short distance to the mainland to feed. Today, they're a welcome sight in villages. The birds zero in on moringa trees. Seeds inside these long pods are one of their favorite foods. Most of the remaining birds are found on Palawan. Now, with the help of the Katala Foundation, there are believed to be around 1,000 of them left in the wild. With the people of the Philippines getting behind them, their future seems secure. All across these remote islands, countless living treasures depend on locals coming together to protect their natural habitats and preserve their futures. The magic of these islands truly comes alive through species large and small, iconic and obscure, when they are all able to thrive together in their extraordinary home.